Hey, what's up, everybody? Today is Monday. We have a brand new weekly candle on the chart here. This is the 2 hour. So, if we look at the weekly chart, we are currently trading above the previous weekly candle. So, this is a good start to a new week. And the idea here, we're looking at Algorand, by the way. And the idea here is we need to get through these retracement levels and then we can start to expand further into its rather deeper retracement levels. So if we look back over here, we can see we're still quite a ways away from our peak. We're not even at the 236 yet, right? At the very least, I'm expecting a massive retracement for Algorand. And not just Algorand, but you look at Theta, you look at other coins. Now for XRP, I'm looking at a full-on breakout into new all-time highs, right? But there's a difference. People say, well, I'd rather have a coin that's in a breakout mode, and that's true. But sometimes you can have bigger percentages in altcoins that are just going back to the retracement level. For example, if I take a ruler and I go all the way up, let's say I go up to the 702, okay, that's about 400%. Now let's go to, for example, XRP, and I'm going to go up 400%, and I'm going to see where that lands me. So we're going to start from where we are right currently, and we're going to go up 400%. So that takes me to about $12. So there you go. So what's more likely to happen? I don't know. That's a good question. I think XRP can surely do that. But it's kind of like the same risk, same reward. Actually, I would say it's pretty well matched up. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. If Algorand can actually go past that and go into expansion, then we're looking at a totally different situation, right? Because $12 XRP is a 4.236. Well, if Algorand hits a 4.236, you're looking at, 2,000, 2,500%. Massive difference. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen with Algorand, but it just kind of lets you know that, hey, there's more percentage potential in Algorand. But here's the problem. We got to get through the retracement levels when we get up here. My question is, I think we will get up here. And the big question is, will Bitcoin have enough time for the alts to kind of flag out in here and then have another move higher? That is the big question. I don't know. So, as an investor, I have to ask myself, do I want to rotate my XRP? And I'm just using Algorand as an example. For example, I can use Theta, I can use HBAR, I can use XLM, I can use, ADA or Filecoin or Matic or who, it doesn't matter, right? Because XRP is my biggest holding. What I'm saying is, should I rotate into something that has maybe a little bit more percentage potential? Now, I believe XRP will always be my biggest holding as we go into this final stage, but that doesn't mean I can't rotate 5% in Algo, 5% in HBAR, 5% in Theta, or maybe 10% in Theta Fuel, something like that. So I think we have a lot of options here, right? And as we get further along here, so I would really have to make the decision now, because here's the thing. If, for example, we get up to, 400% up in here, and then I make the decision, right? And then it'd be roughly the same thing, right? So if I say, let's see, where's 400% at? It's right at, let's say, $2.15. Okay. So we take $2.15, roughly, ballpark, right around there. Good enough. And we go up 400%. or we go up to $10, $11. Look at that. It's about the same, 400%. So it's really the same. The difference is Algorand has much further to go, right, than XRP, but Algorand can give you more percentage value than XRP. But XRP can also give you more percentage value because it's closer to the breakout of its level here, meaning XRP is already here. So when it breaks out, it's not going to have all that resistance. Algorand's going to have more resistance. But to the 618, it's roughly the same percentages. So it's kind of like one of those things is like, well, what do you do then? Well, again, it's diversification, right? It's all about being diversified. If you believe that the market is going to go higher, as far as more aggressively, then I would choose algo. If you believe the crypto market is going to obviously continue higher, but maybe not a lot of time left, then maybe XRP, right? But you can't really go wrong with either one. Remember, XRP is a much bigger market cap. Algorand's a smaller market cap. So it's going to be easier to fluctuate the price. It's going to be easier to kick it up. And here's the cool part about Algorand is when you compare it to XRP, or even when you compare it to Bitcoin, if you look right over here, this point right here is that little hump there. So that is literally the equivalent of Bitcoin being at, what price is that? About $9,500. Let's say 10K, right? So it's like buying Bitcoin at 9 or 10K. You know what I mean? Okay, so we go to XRP real quick. By the way, we're gonna get into the price action. We're gonna look at the wave structure. We're gonna look at Theta. We're gonna look at XRP if I can find it real fast. Sometimes they're a little bit. I think we'll use this one. It's fine here, and we're gonna look back in the day. So let's go to the weekly chart. There we go. And I'm going to take a line and I'm going to put it, well, first of all, where are we currently? At 42 cents. So that is like XRP. You can see it's at the top of that peak. That is like XRP being at about 28 cents. Okay, we'll say 29 cents. All right. So that's a big difference. So imagine XRP being down here. You know what I mean? And then it going to 10 or 11 or $12. That's a big run versus coming from here. The difference is when you're starting from down here, you got to get through resistance until you bust through. Now you could slice through it like butter easily, but you just don't know if that's going to be the case. So the safer option, it's a tough one, but I would say XRP simply because it's just so much more bullish looking. I mean, you have the rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, the biggest base in crypto history, the biggest Elliott wave contracting triangle in crypto history, the biggest cup and handle in crypto history. I mean, it's the biggest everything, right? I mean, but Algorand had the biggest drawdown, right? It had a very big drawdown, and it went below the C19 lows. I don't know why. I'm not sure what happened there, but you could say, oh, that's bearish. You could say, well, maybe it was so oversold that you're going to have a bigger snapback. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things. Now, which chart looks more bullish? This one, all day long. XRP looks way more bullish than Algorand, but that could easily change. The reason why is because I don't have a lot of history on Algorand. For example, if this thing was a wave 1, and then we had a 3-wave pullback, and then we had a 1-2, this thing could be in a 3rd and a 4, and then we get a 5. Very, very easily. And then that would be pretty much very bullish, right? Especially when you start out in the early days. For example, look at this. Boom, 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 come all the way down. Look at that, we come all the way back down, almost breaking the low. And then we have like a 1 2, and then we kind of chop around a little bit. 1 2. The market took a little bit longer back over here, but I think we're more further along. But even if it wanted to kind of base out, it can easily continue doing this and then go up later. That's always a risk. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's keep moving forward. Let's take a look at Algorand up close. Now this is going to be very similar. This is going to be very similar to the rest of the market. So, you know, it's going to be very similar as far as price action goes. So what I'm looking at here with Algorand is just zoom out a little bit. Number one, we have a base. Perfect. We're going sideways. That's exactly what you want. And then out of that base spurs a beautiful pump to the upside. And then out of that move, you have a beautiful pullback. Perfect. And then you have a beautiful looking little, you know, not so perfect, but you have sort of a double bottom here. You know, 3 up, 3 down, right? And then out of that, you're kicking up, and then you flagged out. Now it looks like we're continuing to go higher. So I imagine, like I've been saying since, you know, December, all through here, basically saying that the market should go into a retracement. Even if it has to go down, it's going to go up. Or if it's going to stop here or wherever, it should go back into retracement. Well, now once we get there, that's when it's challenging, right? Because you always have a point A, a point B, and a point C, right? So A, B, C. A is easy, B is easy, C is hard. Okay, so just keep that in mind when someone is analyzing a chart, right? It's very hard to know exactly if point C is going to continue or if point C is going to break down, right? Usually you have structure. I mean, usually you have things to let you know. For example, number one, we have a base that signals upside. Number two, we have an impulse that signals more upside. Number three, you're flagging out in a corrective form that signals more upside. When we get to point C, right, that means we should break out. And then lastly, the way it moves up into those retracement levels, is it impulsive, is it corrective, right? So all of those indicators will give you the edge, not the assurance, but the edge of will it break or not. We have broken above the downward resistance line like it wasn't even there. So yeah, I think we're on our way. Now that doesn't mean it's going to happen today, tomorrow, or even next week. But what that means is it should get going soon, right? I mean, we're already seeing that. Now here's the thing. When we zoom in on this, we have another situation here, right? Can we get through the retracement level here? Or are we going to get an A, B, C, and then continue higher, right? There's always a chance for a big dump and then a continuation. Not just in Algorand, but if we look at XRP, for example, right, this thing can kind of flag out a little bit more, kind of droop down a little bit, and then continue higher. Not saying that's going to happen, but you can see the classic three-wave shape here. Unless, of course, this is a flat A, B, C, right? And then you know, it could be something similar. But even if it was a flat, you could still get 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 back down, and then continue higher. So if we get a big flush to the downside, it's not such a bad thing, right? It's not. I would look at it as a buying opportunity, to be quite honest. Where could we go if we did go down? Approximately $2.18. So looking pretty good. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So that's pretty much it. I mean, I put a video out yesterday talking about the weekly close. Let's take a look at it. So we have our weekly candle trading above our previous candle. We also have the wick, right? So we got the wick. That's good. We wick down into the previous week, right? So think of this as, basically a data, like an SD card full of data in here. And then your memory card fills up, and then you go to the next data. But you need to store some of this data into the cloud. Well, this wick comes down here, injects itself into this data, extracts it, and now it's like into the cloud, right? And then it continues to fill up. I don't know. That's a lame kind of an analogy, but it's what I came up with. So, anyways, you can see it's not always the case, right? If you have a big kind of wick here, sometimes you don't need a shadow here. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, the weekly chart, pretty simple. You got your base, you got your impulse, you got your flag, you got your break. Now you're getting into the retracement levels. This is literally where we make it or break it, because this thing can totally turn complex, right? Meaning, is this going to be a double three? Is this going to be a more complex correction? For example, we have 3, perfect, but it can easily turn into 3 and then another 3, and it becomes a bigger 3, and then we continue higher, right? So this is where we make it or break it. But if we did break it, we would most likely continue higher, right? But you can have, like, for example, like a 3, and then it can be a 3 and a bigger 3, right? And that 3 turns into even a bigger 3, right? And that 3 turns, you know what I mean? But that's not going to happen. I really highly doubt that. So my thesis is that we can break through these retracement levels, especially if Bitcoin is showing more strength. Now, if we have to kind of go into some reaccumulation in here, that's fine too. But yeah, looking good, nothing to complain about. Hopefully we can get moving soon. I'd really, really like to go into price discovery for XRP before Trump's inauguration. That way, if the deep state wanted to try something funny, we would have a head start of what they're trying to do, as far as maybe they're trying to collapse the markets. By the way, he should be certified today. We'll see if the deep state tries something. This would be a perfect time for the deep state, because look at this. When we look at the small time frames, it actually doesn't look that good. Why? Because I have a 3-way move. Look, I have 3 down, I have 3 up, and here's Trump's inauguration, or Trump's certification. Oh, and then they try something stupid like, oh, we're not going to do it, or this is not, blah, 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 blah. Something happens, and then what happens? You get a big dump. And then it becomes a bigger 3, and then we go up. That would be okay. It wouldn't be bad. It would kind of suck for my positions. I would have to sort of recalibrate them in a way, but yeah. Okay, I just checked the news. I just wanted to make sure everything is good. So he was certified. So everything looks clear for now. We'll see what they try, but they could do anything. These guys are psychopaths. They are deep state embedded establishment actors who want to preserve their way of corruption, their way of doing things their way, right? They don't care about you or me or the American people or the economy or anything. All they care about is backroom deals, kickbacks, right? So you think they care about Ukraine? No, they send money over there. Why? Because that money gets laundered and then it comes back to them, some fashion, right? In some fashion. So anything they care about, right? That they come out and say, oh, we care about this and we want to do this and we want to do. They don't care. They just doing it for the kickback. Like, for example, climate change. Obviously climate change is a real thing, but the way they describe it, the way they use it, is to basically rip us off. You know what I mean? And when I say it's a real thing, I mean the climate is always changing to some effect. Now, is it getting warmer? Is it getting colder? I mean, the Earth is going to do what the Earth is going to do. The Earth is not worried about humans. The Earth will be here long after humans are done, you know? So it cleanses itself, right? If you go back millions and millions and millions of years, it was pretty much unlivable. It was super hot, then it was super cold, right? I mean, when the Earth was getting formed. So it'll cleanse itself of all the plastic, of all the crap that we have, and it might take a lot of time. But yeah, I think, man, plastic in the world's ocean is probably one of the saddest things, because you do your part in recycling and you put it in the blue bin. They take that blue bin, they take it to a recycling center. They basically organize it, compact it, whatever, and then they look at the contracts. And let's say there's a contract in China, they'll send that recycling overseas to a contract in China so they can recycle it. But a lot of times they don't. They just dump it in the ocean because it's cheaper. They get the money to recycle it. They get the subsidy to recycle it, and then they just dump it. So it's kind of a sad thing. But anyway, I digress. Totally off topic. Just bothering. Very bothersome. But anyway, if we can all do our part at limiting plastic, I know it's kind of a liberal thing to say, but at the end of the day, it's, if you look at some of these documentaries when it comes to the ocean and all the plastic in the ocean, it's pretty sad. So even polyester clothes, right, has plastic materials. So I tend to get more cotton or more natural materials. It goes from all these other things, right? But anyway, XRP, small time frame. We have to be aware that, actually the way this looks exactly the way it looks on the higher time frames. Well, on other charts, maybe not this chart. But what I mean is, if we look at the 30-minute chart or the 15-minute chart, basically we have this flat here. So is this a 1-2-1-2 and then we're going to continue, or is this a three-way pullback and we got to hit the low, right? So like 3, 3, 3, a flat, and then continue. That could happen. Again, what do we have? Point A, point B, point C. Where are we at? The hardest place you could be. Point C. So there you go. That's pretty much it for XRP. We're kind of pumping a little bit here. We had a big pullback a little while ago, but let's see here. And here's another thing. Look at this. Same thing. Same kind of structure. There's your flat. And now you're working your way into the retracement levels. So it's kind of one of those things where you have to see how it plays out. But yeah, overall it looks pretty nice. Let's see. Do we break that downward resistance line? Oh, look at that, guys. So the downward resistance line, or I should say the supply line, is looking pretty good. And we forgot to talk about our triangle, because now our triangle is definitely back in play here. So we could see, for example, we have an A, we have a B, we have a C. Here's your D. We could get E, right? Usually E does not come all the way back down. It just doesn't. Usually E is like shallow, like that. And hell, for all we're concerned, E could be already here, right? All we need is a three-way move. So here's a three-way move. This could be a three-way move, or this could be 3, and this could be 3, and there's your 3, and then go, right? So I'll just put that down here. So there we go. We got it. It looks pretty dang good. Beautiful triangle. So yeah, all right, let's move on to Theta. Oh, by the way, help me out here. I'm trying to decide what boots I should get. I got 4 pairs. So comment below. Number 1. This is number 1. Okay. Number 2. Number 3. Or number 4. One more time. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Just curious, what do you think? I'm kind of leaning with number 1, but I would like another opinion. I really like the way these look, but I also like these too. That's a tough one. Okay, so Theta, we moved up a little bit. We ticked up to about $2.63. I don't really like the shape too much. It kind of looks like a little bit of a wedgie type of move. Now, the way it circumvents that is if we really get going here, we really need to push up there quickly. I just don't like when we bump up against things. I mean, technically, we did break above that line. So it looks like we're pretty good, but technically we didn't, if we include this one here. So, you kind of have that shape in there. So I'd like to see us, resolve this. Are we going to break down or break up? Usually when things are rising like that, you break down. But if we do break down, it's not a bad thing. I would look at it as sort of 3, and then maybe we have another 3 up, and then we get another 3 down. And this 3 here is part of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's an A, B, C. And this could be another 3, right? And then we go up. So that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. Now, overall, I think we're going to break out. The question is, how does it play out in this area? It's very tough to know exactly. But I'm thinking, you're right at resistance in here. It's a really tough thing. I mean, if we can flag out a little bit and break it, great. If we have to come down in 3 and then break it later on, that's okay too. So I think it's going to be one of those options. I'm not entirely sure. We're going to have to track the smaller time frames to really keep an eye on it. The smaller time frames look pretty decent right now. You got a 1, 2, a 1, 2, a 1, 2. We're pumping here. If we can kind of get going, I mean, yeah, it's going to look pretty good. So, I mean, basically that's it for Theta. Everything looks fine. No problems at all. If we zoom out a little bit, this is where things get interesting, because this is where we're trying to break through. I mean, we're at the same price we were back in March of 2024. So pretty much a little less than a year ago, or no, more than a year ago. We were at the same price. But this time, it feels like it's a low price. Over here, it felt like it was a crazy price. See, that's the difference in psychology, right? Over here, we were running, and it felt like, oh my God, we're at such high prices. This is amazing. Now we're at that same exact price, and it's like, yeah, we want more, And that's how the brain works, right? Because we had to go through all of this to make our brain feel this way versus this way. It's kind of one of those things. So this, where are we exactly? Well, we're approximately at the golden zone. We're in between the 50 and the 618. This is the golden pocket right in there, right? So that's a critical spot. That It's usually the spot where the price likes to hang out the most. It feels more comfortable in this area. Again, I just don't really like this little I just don't really like this little wedgie kind of move here. Now, when we look back over here, right? Well, first of all, we need to get through. One second here. We need to get through 291 to 343. So we'll just say $3. We need to bust that 3 to 330 area, and then we can be on our way. If you look at, for example, real quick, Algorand here, right? So you had, 3 up, 3 down, you came back to support, and then boom, you take off. Okay, great. Now look at Theta. Now if we look at Theta, we go to like the daily, and then we scroll down and look at this, you can see that same move. 3 up, 3 down, back to support, and then bam. Okay? But now if you look at Theta on the current time frames, it looks different, doesn't it? So we still have the 3 up, and then we have the 3 down. We came back down to support. It actually looks the same. It actually looks a little bit more compact, more condensed. And then we pump, we're flagging out, and now we're kind of pushing even higher. So we really need this thing to get going this week, right? We need this thing to pop, because if we spend too much time kind of lollygagging in here, it's going to look bearish. And then we have to go a later day. So we really want it to pump and have that conviction, that strength to get back up here. And then we can kind of lollygag a little bit, maybe flag out, then continue. So I think, this week's goal, we need to get up to $3. Okay, we need $3 by this week. That's what I want to see. Then next week, we want to break above 320, 325. So this week, $3. Next week, 325. That is not financial advice. That is not a prediction. That is just what I would like to see, relative to how the price structure looks. So, there you go, Theta. Aave, Aave looks pretty damn good. Because the way it's rounding out. It had a monster rally. It's got a beautiful, beautiful cup. Problem is, do we gonna get another cup in here and then go, or I should say a handle, or is this thing just gonna, get a parabola here? I don't know. But yeah, you got point A, point B, and now you're in point C. This is the toughest. This is a crossroads. We're at an inflection point right now. So this is like make it or break it, right? I think we're gonna make it. There's a lot to look forward to, so I don't see why we wouldn't, unless, of course, you have a Black Swan Deep State event that could totally happen. So I think that would be the only thing that would destroy the structure of the chart. Or we could go into reaccumulation. You got to rise, you got to crash, you got to retrace, and then we have to come all the way down into reaccumulation, then go sideways, then break out. But since we had such a big accumulation down here, I don't think that's necessary. All right. So that's Aave. How high can Aave go? Who cares about Aave's price? It's all about what percentage Aave can go. Everybody wants to know what's the price, the price, the price. You should be asking what's the percentage, right? So if we, the price is going to be between 1,000 up to 2,500. So if we go to 2,500, you're looking at about 600, 650. If you're looking somewhere in the middle there, you're only looking at 300, 400%. So it's not that juicy, right? A lot of these coins are going to get 3, 4, 500%. But we're looking for coins that can get at least a 10x, especially this far along in the cycle. We want to see a bigger move. So when we look at Matic, I think Matic can maybe be that player. So if we look at Matic, I'm going to do it from here, from boom down to here. So for Matic, we're at 52 cents, right? And the price could be anywhere between $4.73 up to maybe $10 or $11. So if we look at the percentage value of we'll say $5, you're looking at almost 800 and basically 800+%, right? So if you look at 475, yeah, that's 800%. That's twice as much of what maybe XRP can do, and that's only at the 1618. Now again, it comes down to the algo versus XRP kind of discussion we had earlier as far as the retracement levels go, but there you go. So, but if we had a full 4.236 Fibonacci extension at $10 or $11, you're looking at 2,000%. That's a 20x on Matic. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't know where it's going to go, but I can tell you what, it looks pretty dang good, right? And first of all, it meets all my qualifications. Number one, we have sort of a base here. We have an impulse, and we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and we have 3 back down. We have a 3-way pullback. We're flagging out. So we have an impulse, we're flagging out. We got to get through the retracement levels. That's the only sketchy thing. But then, you have to put your bets down here. You can't put your bets after you get through the retracement level, because then you're only going to look at 300-400%. You might as well just go to XRP. So another qualification that it met is when Donald Trump made his first NFT collection, his Trump cards. Those things are going to, he intends on those things lasting forever, right? So what blockchain did he pick? He could have picked any blockchain in the world. He picked Polygon. And I'm sure he didn't pick. I'm sure his kids, his sons, or his advisors or somebody picked it for him. But there's a reason why, because they know what's going on with Matic, with Polygon. They know it's a good blockchain. They know it's a good system. And the fact that we had this monster dump that took out this low and this low, it was looked at as very oversold. So that's another reason. Oversold, plus Trump picked it, plus you got the nice 3-way move, plus you got a 10x potential. So Matic is one of my top picks. I should do a top pick video. Crypto Brandon's top 5 crypto picks for 2025. Matic is definitely on the list for sure. So anyways, Filecoin. Filecoin could also be on my list because of how much it's gone down. I mean, just to get back to the retracement levels, right? Who cares about the price? The price doesn't mean anything. Get that out of your head. Who cares about the price? Right? People go, $10 XRP, $10, $8, $15 XRP. No. It doesn't matter. It could be $1 million. It could be 10 cents. It doesn't matter. It's all about the percentages, right? If I go from 0.00000001 up to 1, that is so much more than me going from, say, 1 up to, let's say, 1,000. 1,000 sounds cooler. Like a Bitcoin $100,000. People, they hear the news. Oh, Bitcoin's at $100,000. It could go to $500,000. Whoa, that's so cool. But that's only a 5x. It's only 500%. It's nothing. versus when they hear like, oh, XRP is $2, it can go to, $15. You know what I mean? So percentages, right? So if Filecoin can basically come, from here, oh my God, it is so far away. Okay, so let's say it's 144 to 163, so we'll say 150. So we'll put it at 150, good enough. Okay, so we're at 151. So that's the retracement level, and we'll even put another line here just because that's some confluence with that support area, and then we'll put one right in the middle. Okay, so I believe Filecoin will hit some of these lines. All right, so how much percentage value is that? So if we go all the way up to the first one, just the first one, that's about a 660% increase. Okay, so if XRP wanted to go up 656%, how much would that be in terms of price? 656%, you're looking at, oh my God, you're looking at $18. So what's more likely, XRP hitting $18 or Filecoin simply just getting not even close to its retracement levels? You know what I mean? So it's a no-brainer. Filecoin all day long. And you can say, well, how can you say that? You've been talking about XRP basically since inception, and I still do, and I still will, and it's still the most bullish looking chart. But who knows? This thing could blow me away and go to $50. It could go to 100. I don't know. I'm using measurements that we all have access to. And when you take the measurement, it does not lie, right? The 4.236 is at $10 to $13. And that from where, now when we were down here, way down at, say, for example, 34 cents, and then we go all the way up to the 4.236, now you're looking at 33,500%. And that's where I was getting in. That's right around the time where I sold my house back over there. So I was buying XRP 30 cents, right? So I got to ride the wave from where we were back here. We'll put it in the middle right at 36 all the way up. That's only 600% or so, right? So if we go up even further to $10 or $11, that's 3,000%, right? But if we just measure it from where we are now, that's only another 300 to 400%. So kind of what's a better thing to do is I really want to not sell my XRP because I want to see how it reacts in price discovery. Do we get big fat candles? Do we get how fast do we get to $5? How slow do we get to $5? How does it react when we get to $5? How does it pull back? There's things I want to see under the hood, right? When you take a race car to the track and you test it and then you take it back to the garage and you're looking at what it did to the engine, that's what I want to see, how it performs up here. That's all. And then I can kind of decide. But maybe by that time it might be too late to rotate anything, But anyways, back to Filecoin. I mean, just to get back, guys, just to get back to that first line, you're looking at, what did I say, 650, almost 700%. Okay, to get to the second line, you're looking at 1213x. And if you get to just to the 1618, I think that was right, the 1618, that's about 2,400%. Now, let me do this one more time here. On the fib levels, boom. Okay, so these are all on linear scale. Yeah, the 618 is all the way at $143. So it's right around there. Now Now, if I come down here, and what I do is I'll make it more conservative and I'll put it down to the base, to the order block of the candle. Okay. And now the 618, I'll put that at the 50. That's $92. And the 618 is around $115. Right? And then what you have is the 1618. If we break out into price discovery, that's about $300. Okay? And we'll say a grand finale, maybe 2618. Okay? And then if it wanted to go to the 4.236 extension, oh my God, you're looking at almost $760. Now we'll take it off and we'll do the new measurements, right? So we have a more conservative 618, right? The same one is 672. You have about 1,500%. That's a really good number, 1,700%, right? 15x, 17x. So if you get to that 1618, you're looking at almost 5,000%. So that's a 50x, okay? You get up to 7, that's a 70x. You get up to, now you're talking 120x. If you get to a full 4.236 extension on Filecoin, you're looking at a 12,000% move. That's insane. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. It probably won't happen. You can say, well, why would XRP at a 4.236 and Filecoin cannot? Well, the reason why is because it's so far away. It would need to go all the way up here. The distance between here and here is much further than the distance between here and here. XRP just has to do that. Filecoin has to get through all of this, then continue to go. So it's got to have a lot. I'm not saying it can't do it. I'm just saying it's going to be much harder, right? But maybe it will. And I believe eventually it will. Maybe not this cycle, but next cycle or whatever. Eventually it will, not financial advice. So there you go, Filecoin, beautiful. All right, near, it's pretty much all the same from there. I'm not going to do it with all of them. Dot, looking pretty good. Let's see what dot would be here. Dot is still relatively low. It's still a good blockchain. It's still undervalued. And it only had a wave 1, right? So you have a base. I think this thing could hit the 4.236. And if it did, you're looking at, well, just to get to the retracement levels, you're looking at 300-400%. That's okay. That's whatever. But the 4.236, you're looking at between 2,000 and 3,000%. So not bad. Not bad at all. Now, when we look at the small time frames, just to kind of get an idea of what it's doing, it's basically doing exactly what everything else is doing. Is this an ABC or is this an ABC and it's going to break out? So it's basically those two options, So that's pretty much it. All right. One more. HBAR. We got an inverse. Oh, look at that. We got an inverse head and shoulders here, right? We have this shoulder, this head, this shoulder. Boom. Looking pretty good. HBAR is another one that's closer to its all-time high, meaning it has a much more higher probability of hitting the 4.236 and even beyond that, because if you look at other previous coins in their previous cycles, when they went up in their third waves, they went way beyond the 4.236. For example, they could go into their linear scale targets. Now or their log scale targets. Now you're talking crazy numbers. For example, if I take this and put it into log scale, now this is provided if we get through all of our linear scale retracement levels, but one a lot of them like to hit is the 2 to the 2.272. And that comes out around where we are now up to, a 20x, all the way up to a 50x. Woo! Let's go. I cannot wait. So anyways, guys, that'll do it for this video. Remember, nothing's ever a guarantee. It's just not, it's just, but it kind of is, because it's like, well, what else do we have? If you look at everything, if you look at the chart, A+. If you look at the state of the world, A+. Now that, and what I mean by that is the state of the world, meaning where are we? Well, we have a money system. We have a Federal Reserve, central banking, fiat currency, debt, enslavement system. There's no other system that could make it better except crypto, right? Money is what makes the world go round. It's what makes the economy it's basically everything that has to do with the way we live our lives. And the current system we live in is degraded, it's corrupt, it's not trustworthy, everything is wrong with it. There's so many problems. And there's nothing out there in the world that can fix it other than crypto. And if you look at crypto, there's only 21 million Bitcoin, there's only 100 billion XRP, there's only X amount of this coin, right? Some of them have more, some of them have less, whatever. They're anti-debt instruments. They're basically units of value that is outside of the central banking system. My dad, I got his phone and I downloaded Coinbase for him and I linked his bank account to Coinbase. It wouldn't let me. Those little crooks, right? He put in all his information. Everything's legit. Why did it not let him do that? Because his bank probably said, hell no, right? I don't know. Who knows what the reason is? But anyways, looking at the 4-day chart here on Theta, it looks pretty damn good. Look at this candle. It looks like it wants to break out, man. So I think that's it here. SHIB, ETH. Oh, we forgot about Bitcoin. Little old Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a very nice looking pop here. Yeah, it looks great. I don't, a lot of people were saying, yeah, it's going to go down here. And I thought it could possibly do that as well. But, this structure, boom, boom, it was too big for me to think that. So, more than likely we were going to go up here. We did. And now what? Well, now it's kind of like, point A, point B, point C. What the hell? I don't know. I think it's got to flag out and then continue, or it's got to go into reaccumulation, then continue, or it's going to be an ABC, then continue, or it's going to be in some type of distribution. For example, here's a fractal here. You can see it. This is what happened the last time Bitcoin was in distribution. It sort of went boom, 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 and then lights out. So if we did come up here, we can break the high, maybe to get 115, 120, and then altcoins go crazy, and then everything just dies. Something like that. You could also see another chart here. This is from BCB. This is a screenshot. I thought it was really cool. That's why I'm sharing it. It looks nice. Definitely possible. Here's another fractal from Bitcoin. I thought it was pretty nice. And this also would mean that we would have a dump coming in soon, but then a very sharp reversal. ICP, also looking pretty good. It's kind of flagging out a little bit, and then a continuation, or even a bigger flat, then a continuation, back to the retracement levels. Again, most like, all the other charts. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Remember, not financial advice, and let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.